Okay, so hi everybody. It's good to see everyone, and we're lucky to have the batch team with us today, Julian and Sam
Morning.
Morning,
from
morning.
their Shoreditch offices. So we're going to get through this quite quickly because I know everybody's busy. So I guess my first point of call is to introduce both Sam and Julian, and they can kind of give us a breakdown of what batch is about, how it started, who they are, what's a bit about their past as well, because it gives a bit of context. And I guess over to you guys.
Cheers, Patrick.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying their summer so far. So to give you a bit of an idea of who we are and how we started and how we got to this point, we actually started Batch quite simply because we couldn't find a decent casual suit. Then we started looking into that problem in a bit more detail and quickly realised the timing of a casual suit was perfect, in the sense that the way that we dressed to work had changed significantly. We'd gone from a very formal in the office 5 days a week to a lot more hybrid in and out the office, and as a result the workplace is casualized. But equally, and maybe more importantly, we just spent 2 years of COVID being locked up in home and getting very used to being comfortable at home in tracksuits, etc., and then got released back out into the wild again. And naturally, there's this trend towards dressing smarter, looking sharper, looking and feeling the part, but people still want to retain that comfort of what they're wearing. So we realised that the timing was fantastic. And then naturally, as you do when you start any business, you look at the different ways that you can be sustainable. We started looking into the fashion industry in a bit more detail. And whilst we all know fast fashion's bad, certainly Julian and I didn't realise quite how bad it was. So we were pretty shocked to see that 6 and 10 items of clothing that are made end up in landfill within a year. So we looked at each other and we discussed what the biggest impact we could have is and how we could change the way that we consume clothes currently. And we realised through our research that 70% of fashion waste comes from upstream production, which is essentially before the clothing's even got into the consumer's hands. So we decided that we wanted to flip the way that we produce clothes currently on its head. Hence the name Batch London. We produce all of our suits in limited capacity batches. What that really means is that they're made to order. So our suits take 8 weeks to be made. We allow customers to come in to our shop, try their suits on, or you can buy them online. We then ask people to wait for 8 weeks. Along those 8 weeks, we'll show people how their suit's being made and who's actually making it through behind the scenes footage from the factory, and introducing people to, the artisans that actually do the hard work. And as a result, by making things to order, it means we only make exactly as many clothes as we need. So you cut out all of that overproduction, all of that wastage that you normally get in the fashion industry. Which is really, really important to do and has led us to where we are today.
Good. And I guess a little bit from you as well, Julian, because I know you've got a bit of knowledge in marketing, and so there's a bit of two sides to each coin to a business. So it'd be good to hear from you as well.
It would be my pleasure. Yeah, so Sam and I both have a background in working for startups, essentially. That's how we came together. We both went to university together at Newcastle. We started Batch 18 months ago. So really, we're just babies in the industry, but we're going quite well. To date, we've done 3 successful batches, which have all sold out. So we're in quite a strong position to grow the brand into new products, which we'll come on to. But yeah, we have nice complementary skill sets. I've got a background, as you said, Patrick, within marketing. Sam's got a background within operations. So between us both, we've got enough skill set in order to create a startup fashion brand. Both have a very keen interest in fashion personally, but we're not fashion designers per se. We had our suits created with an independent fashion designer who created the technical elements of the suit for us to be able to go and reach out to factories in Portugal to get the garments made. So that is our story to date so far. As Patrick noted, we're sat in our shop in Shoreditch, which we have for the next month. It's a pop-up. The opportunity for people to try on our suits, given the fact that they're made to order and we're asking people to pay for something and wait for it, is still quite an essential part of our proposition. So having a physical space is quite important, but our long-term goal for Batch is to become the go-to made-to-order brand in the world. So once we've proven concept further, that people are willing to pay for something and wait for their clothing, there's no reason why we can't try other garments, hence why we're starting to look at this neck scarf opportunity. It's quite a complementary product to our current range. A lot of our customers wear neck scarves. Sam and I wear neck scarves and head scarves, so it's a nice product for us to develop into, and perhaps I can leave it there and we can come back to it, Patrick.
So I'm just going to open up our little presentation. Most of the people on here have had a little sort of nose through the presentation, so they're sort of aware of it. I'm just going to share it on here. Can you all see the presentation?
Yeah, we can, Patrick.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess what attracted me to Batch? So most of our projects we've worked with luxury brands. So we've worked with Alberto Ferretti, we've worked with Christian Dior, we've worked with Peter Dundas, and one of the things that we've also been doing is supporting Fashion Scout, which supports new gen designers. And I've worked with universities looking at new designers coming through. And it's always interesting because we're quite new as well. Even though I have a history in it, it was kind of a new idea pre-COVID actually. And I've worked with startups, and I like the idea of startups that they're quite agile and they're willing to make broad, big moves quite fast. And when I came across Batch via online, via social media, and we just worked with a small Indian brand designer making shoes, and the outcomes were really good, and it really helped elevate the brand. So when I saw Batch, I thought this would be a great little product or a sort of brand for us to partner with or collaborate with, and see how we could sort of fuse together and offer what skills we have. Because as I know with startups, there isn't big finances, big businesses, so creativity is always the key ingredient. And this idea of you being quite almost slow, thinking about things lasting, made to order. I'd seen lots of startups that had come from that sort of that proposition when I was at the Royal College. So I really liked your idea, and that's kind of the reason why I gravitated towards you, and sort of spearheaded towards you. And it was great that you got back to us. And I have this other space of the creatives, and creating that sort of synergy between the two of us could work really well. And then Sam came up with the great idea of doing scarves together. I had a different idea, but it was great that Sam had something that was sort of ready in his head to do something. So that the sort of scarves was a great idea, and I've got a background in scarves as well, so it sort of led straight on to doing a project. I know you've explained a bit about who Batch is, and I guess doing the scarf idea. When we were thinking about the scarf, and we were thinking about the role of the scarf and how it plays as an accessory, as it upstyles your outfit, it can add as a key ingredient to anything. Something that you could wear on a wrist, something you could wear on a head, something you could wear around your neck, something that could go on your bag. So the scarf has a multiple sort of series of roles. It's like carrying a cool magazine. It's one of these nice complementary elements to what you do, like having a nice pen or something. So a scarf's a great sort of accessory that really ups the level of what you do, and it gives a bit of color or pop or flavor to what adds a bit of personality to the person. So I think a scarf's a great thing for us. And we were looking at this sort of genderless scarf that could be worn by a man and woman, and similar to your actual proposition is that the suits have this sort of blend between both spaces, that it could be given to a man, it could be given to a woman. You could both wear what you share with your partner, or they could go out of it and it could be an oversized jacket. So there's multiple roles of all of this, and I thought it was sort of a great concept. The size of the square, I guess, was what we were thinking about. So we're looking at an 80 by 80, which could be either shrunk down, or it probably could go a little bit bigger. But we're thinking of a more or less standardized square that could be used for a headscarf or a neck scarf. The main things we're looking for is not only designs, is also thinking about how you're going to document your process. So this is quite important, not only for Batch, for us, for you as creatives, is to think about the wider reach of the content that you're making. So I guess creating reels, creating all this rich content. And we have a hashtag FIDA Batch. So if you could hashtag that as well and link in Batch, you'll see their handles there as well, at batch.ldn, and connect us in as well at FIDA Worldwide. So that's kind of from that point of view. And if you wish to do more designs, I guess for everybody on here, you usually what happens is you get super creative. If you don't wish to edit, you don't have to, but it would be nice if you refine down the editing process if you can, because I know once creatives get going, they really sort of get bubbling away and create loads of imagery. So I guess that's from my side of the scarf idea. I guess it'd be nice to hear from you two, what you think the role of the scarf will complement with your suits.
Yeah, if I could just quickly add to the documenting the process, Patrick. So where we strive to be storytellers here at Batch and tell people stories, we're trying to build a community of people that want to both look great and live more responsibly, and build a brand that stands for more than just clothing. You know, what does it mean to wear a Batch suit? Ultimately, that's the type of person who's looking to live a little bit more consciously, a little bit more responsibly. Ultimately, they're paying for something and waiting for it for the betterment of the planet. So we're trying to build a brand of people that want to adhere to that type of ethos. So when it comes to a finished product, having a bank of assets and creatives from the illustrators and designers on this project in order to be able to tell the story of how the scarf was created, and ultimately for us to be able to promote the creative, is essential to this proposition. We're currently doing a docu-series where we shine a light on aspirational creatives that we're proud to align Batch with, from musicians to tattoo artists to chefs to spoken word poets. And this kind of falls into a similar category. So this is very much on brand with what we're doing at the moment. So the opportunity to be able to highlight the work that you're doing on the scarf, but also you as a general designer and illustrator, is going to be really important. And consequently, once the final garment is created and in production, we'll be able to tell your story very well, and it will add a lot of value to the scarf itself.
Yeah.
Good.
And we've seen you're working with a really good illustrator at the moment.
Yeah,
if they go on Kellyanne, so if they go online, she's doing some great stuff with the Women's World Cup, and there's been a great sort of ambassador for illustration and what's happening in them spaces. So, you know, it's nice to see. So if anybody does go on their Instagram site, you can actually see what they're doing and who they're rubbing shoulders with and who they're sort of, and they've got musicians in there. So there's a really good, rich storytelling happening within their brand. So really go in and do your homework on who Batch are. And as Julian was saying, is that they are trying to create narratives behind the brand and almost build their audience of the wearer, the consumer, who's going to be, you know, the creative, who wears these sort of garments. You know, there's and there'll be a wider audience as well who want a bit of culture in their life. So yeah, I think that was a great. So it's great to see. So please, everybody, go in and interrogate and have a good look around. And we were saying here, with regards to the reels, we've got about 45 to 60 seconds. You can do shorter or longer, but most people we know are looking at reels quite short. But that could be edited, that could be played with from our point of view as well. So it's really thinking about, do you want to talk to the camera? Do you want to just record yourself drawing? It's totally up to you as a creative, how you want to put your proposition across of how your scarf's going to be represented. So it can be done in a multifaceted way. So, and we want people to think through their process, what they would like to sort of represent from themselves as a creative. and how, you know, we're seeing with Kellyanne how she sometimes draws and then she stands up and she paints on the wall. She has a really great process of how she image makes, how she documents her process. So I think have a look around, have a think, because I know a lot of you are starting to record what you do, and think about what your USP is for yourself as well as creative storytellers. So I think it's quite important. The reels are becoming so important as a part of communication on Instagram and social media, and you know, we're seeing in threads and all these different places. So they're us. From a communication point of view, it really enhance what you do. So it isn't just a flat image with a scarf. We're looking for a little bit more, and we want more. And I think most brands and companies are giving you the opportunity to have a voice, and you're not just a hidden gem in the background. So it's a great opportunity to be a creative. So this is perfect.
It's about building personal brand as well, which is so important in the modern era. But Patrick, if I may, just to go back slightly, I think one of the initial questions you just asked me was why we chose to go for a headscarf or a neck scarf, and what that means to Batch. So to give a bit more background about that, which will hopefully give some inspiration, we want Batch to stand for, or we want Batch to give you emotion when you put it on, whether that's a suit or a headscarf, of feeling confident, of feeling comfortable, but also feeling elevated. So you sort of mentioned it earlier when you were giving over the brief. A neck scarf, headscarf is a real elevation to your outfit, to how you look, but equally it's that confidence, it's that comfortable nature that we want to give across.
Yeah.
You also we haven't really touched on the fact that Batch is unisex. So although we make suits, we've got a men's fit and a women's cut, and a women's cut. However, there's lots of mix and matching between the two. So it made me smile when you said, you know, it's your husband can buy it and your wife might wear it, and that really does stand true for our suits as well as for the headscarf, neck scarf that we're looking to create. Batch really is all about functionality. So that's everything we create, everything that we design, everything that we bring into our range will have functionality as a key standpoint. So how many different ways can you wear it? How many different ways can you style it? We're trying to break out of this cycle of having to buy a new outfit or a new item for each new occasion that you're going to, and actually have clothing that can be worn in multiple different ways to lots and lots of different occasions, cut down on your wardrobe size, and the whole thing comes full circle, and everyone then becomes more sustainable just naturally. So yeah, that's why we've opted for the headscarf next. It's that elevation of what we're doing at the moment.
Yeah, and also I saw you work with Sojo. Is it Sojo? That actually, correct. Yeah. So they're a startup as well, and I've been following them through Regular Practice, who I've worked with as well, the design agency, and they're being able to customize, edit garments as well. So there's a real thought process in, and who you're sort of partnering with as well, which really sort of, I guess, strengthens your core values of who you are. So I think that the scarf is an extension, but when everybody has a good look at you, as I've done, is I can see all the elements that you're tapping into to actually create a longer journey that really enhances what you are as a company. So it's great. So when anyone has a good look at what you do and understands you more, they'll probably hopefully see what I saw as well. So it's a good, you know, there's great colors in there. There's really interesting textures. So people can look at what you do, and the audience that you're actually communicating to as well. I think what should sort of resonate through the designs as well from these scarves. So that's something that's bubbled away in my head as a creative when I look at what you had to offer. So I guess the reels and the documenting of your process is pretty straightforward. Dimensions of the videos, they could be changed a bit, but you know, that's something we can discuss more further down the brief. And what's quite nice here is we're seeing Batch have offered to give £500 to the winner. They've also helped fund people to. So one of the main things we're trying to do with FIDA is offer people opportunities, because we know the creative sector is really struggling financially. So we're really trying to reach out to brands to help through their funding or through money that they offer us to put back into the system, so that people can be re-promoted, re-advertised, and through one of our books, they're going to help give a space for our, for our winners, for our second place artists as well. And also, we're going to see how, if there's other designs that they really like and they feel that there's an opportunity there, that they're going to give a 15% profit to each of the artists as well. So it's all in the brief. There's lots of content here. So have a good read through. I probably haven't mentioned all of it. I'd rather spend more time talking to these guys about the creators rather than these fine details. But, we're really lucky that they've offered to give a good prize, and hopefully, this is great for you, and this is a great opportunity. So we're lucky from that point of view. So thanks from Batch. I guess key considerations you guys could quickly browse over and highlight, because these are parts of things that you put in.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, this is just to give a little bit of direction without cutting off your sort of creative freedom, as it were. But otherwise, I don't know, it's like trying to draw a picture of an animal, and it's like you don't know where to start. You need a bit more than that. So yeah, our sort of motto at the moment is suits redefined. So we looked at the traditional suit. We saw that it was outdated in many ways. The number of occasions that you wear it to are diminishing, and there's time for a redefinition of that. So a modern take on a vintage piece, again, is a similar. We want to maintain that ethos through what we're doing. We've kind of spoken about the fact that our products are versatile, designed to be versatile, have multiple uses, and make the user feel empowered or elevated. We're looking to go for some more vibrant colours. So you'll see later in the brief the autumn-winter suit colours that are coming out are darker tones. We've got some really nice colours in there, but they are of the darker tones. So we want something that's going to stand out next to those. Our opinion is that a cream and white base is a good place to start. But again, don't take that for standard, just to give you some incentive of what sort of thing we're looking for. Square design borders are usually helpful with a neck scarf, particularly when we've got different finishing options from a rolled hem or a pinned hem. Another key consideration that we want you guys to think about is when the scarf is rolled or folded to be a neck scarf, is that going to look good with your design? Can you take a snapshot of that? Have you thought about it? That's something that's worth thinking about when you're creating it. And then again, Batch is trying to change the way we consume and put forward this ethos that good things come to those that wait. So again, potentially there's something that you might want to do around that. Is there something around slow fashion? Is there some sort of narrative that you want to bring into your piece? But it's not essential. You're not going to be graded on that. It's just to give some inspiration and direction.
Yeah. And I guess we don't have a preconceived idea of what we want. So we've left it quite open. So you could do something quite abstract and you could do something quite detailed. It's purely up to you guys to offer your opportunity there with regards to your design. But I think it's quite important to think about how the scarf will be folded, print out your pieces, check them. And I think it's quite interesting to see how color works when it is folded or creased or played, and how the image, sometimes an abstract image works quite nicely and sometimes a detailed. So I think any designs that you think about, think how it works. It could be mirrored, it could be reflected. There's lots of different design houses you could look at. Hermes, Dior do amazing scarves. There's lots of great scarf designers out there, and even the more abstract old Pierre Cardin scarves. There's such a range out there to just get your history of what headscarves, the role of a headscarf plays as well. So thanks for that, Sam. I guess you spoke about the neck scarf. I'm just going to go across the two. So you've got the role of a neck scarf, like you both said you wear neck scarves. And I guess you could have a little explanation here for yourselves, like what would the role of the neck scarf, where would you wear it? Where would you imagine wearing it?
Yeah, I think we've kind of touched on it, to be fair. It's the opportunity to elevate your outfit, really. If you want to stand out from the crowd a little bit and wear something that's a little bit more eye-catching and colourful.
Yeah.
What's nice about them is that they're quite appropriate for all year round use. So I wear it regularly in the summer with the vest, or you can wear it nicely with a shirt. So from my perspective, it's just the opportunity to just elevate your outfit and stand out from the crowd a little bit more.
Share a bit of personality.
Yeah. And similar here with the headscarves, and we're seeing a big rise in them as well. So, and they're quite playful. So and also you can change the thickness of the borders that you put on the scarf. So some of them you're seeing quite a thin border down here, and then some of them you've got really wider borders, like in the bottom right-hand corner. So have a play with borders. Borders are, I think, are quite essential for doing scarves. They really help, and it gives a placement for brands or logos to be placed as well. Don't necessarily worry too much about the placement of the logo. That's something that I think we'll discuss in-house. But you could, if you are going to illustrate any of the typography or you're thinking about type, that's something that you could think about as well, where you see with brands like Hermes, they have a big H in the middle, or Dior do small scripted text. Don't think you can't have typography on there as well. It's totally up to you to be quite playful. So here's your color palette.
Sorry, Patrick. We internally we actually spoke about this the other day, as in from the back side. We've got no issues if you want to play around with our logo, with our word mark. If you want to break it down, do something abstract, that's completely over to you.
Yeah, great. And I guess from a color range, we're seeing a much richer, more vivid, deeper colors there. You know, there's sort of these deeper dark greens. You know, these dark chocolates as well are really nice, and this maroon and Pacific blue. Yeah, there's a real sort of play here of colors. And then I guess here was our next bit of some ideas to sort of complement these colors. How do you feel about them bringing in an other accent color?
And any other colors you want to use, those don't take those as standard. It's more just to give an idea that, like, we're not looking for like muted pastel colors, because in our opinion they'll clash with the suit colors we've chosen, and we want them to stand out and for it to be vibrant. But take any colors you want outside of those color ideas. It's just a starting point.
Yeah, and if you do have any color ideas or colorways, it's fine to do different color options of the same design, but we really want to be thinking about the design. But you're more than welcome as creatives to give a little series if you wish, but don't waste too much time on giving us loads of different colorways from the same design if it's really heavily detailed. We'd rather focus on the design. So that's from my point of view. And here's the branding for Batch, where, like they were saying, you could break free of this. You could be inspired by it. You could, you know, when I look at it, I can see half a sun, and then you can see half a flower. It reminds me of the old Sensations exhibition for Versace, where you had this sort of two elements to it, which is quite interesting. Maybe one's Sam and one's Julian. I'm not too sure.
So our logo is an abstract day to night concept.
Nice.
So taking in this idea that our suits can be worn during the day as easily as they can be worn at night. You can dress them up to look smart. You can dress them down to look casual. So it's that sort of day to night. If that.
I actually didn't know that. That's because when I was looking at it, I was spinning it and thinking of the sun and sort of rays of light on the sea or something. When I was having a look, so it's good. It's kind of good to know that, because that's kind of a good little metaphor in there as well. So that's really handy to have. And then you've brought this in. This is new to me as well.
Yeah. Again, just feel free to play around with the word mark. You know, we have our word mark that will be consistent. That will also be on the label of the scarf, the top one. But feel free to play around. I think it's something that we've witnessed brands doing quite a lot at the moment. You know, if you take Carhartt for an example, they're probably the OGs of taking their logos, taking their word marks, and messing around with them in lots of different ways. So we're more than happy for people to have a play should you want to.
Okay, good. So terms and conditions, people can read them on their own. So I guess what I'd like to end with is we have it's not a short time frame. Most people are quite used to working at 3 to 4 weeks. And I guess what might be quite nice is if anyone has any initial ideas or images that they want to send across in the first few weeks, maybe I could send some stuff over to Sam and Julian to have a quick look, and they could maybe give a bit of feedback. So if anybody has any ideas or thoughts, you know, you could send over some initial ideas. but towards the end. But if you want a bit of feedback, this isn't a huge feedback incentive. It's really for you to get on with it and work on it, because everybody's busy. But there is an opportunity to share stuff. We have a Slack group, and we can communicate through there. So don't feel that you just need to get to the end and design it. If you want a bit of a discussion, there is a space for discussion. And I could maybe share some ideas after 2 or 3 weeks, just before the end, before the handing. If anyone has any questions, I'm pretty sure Sam and Julian, it would be better through email rather than going through Instagram. I don't know if you guys want to be...
We're comfortable with designers reaching out to us at any point if they would like to, if that's okay with you, Patrick.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. I've seen a few people follow us on the Instagram already whilst we've been talking, which is great. So yeah, our comms lines are open. Okay, good. Right, so be prepared. Anything's possible. Yeah. So good luck, everybody, and thanks for your time, guys, and thanks for this opportunity. And we're really chuffed that you've run with it, especially as a startup. We know things are always tough, and we're happy to be on board and get moving on it, and we're excited like you guys are. So fingers crossed. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Patrick.
Thank you, guys. Looking forward.
Have a good day. Oh, just before you go, if anyone's got any questions, just before you run away, I don't know if anyone had it, because I can see a few people on it. If anyone has any questions, you can quickly throw it in the chat. Or if you have any questions, I'm pretty sure that, the guys can check them on Instagram. So you could Instagram them, and any questions you want to ask. Yeah, people are just saying thanks and well done. That's what I can chat. So
thank you, everybody.
See you later.
All right.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.